Hi, this is Karen O'Brien, and I wanted to go over some features in Notepad++ that might help you with data editing, especially when you're working with some Flow 2D data. I specifically chose to cover this video topic because of some of the poor, development methodologies in the new Windows 11 Notepad. It causing some problems for people who are looking at the files in Notepad but not realizing that those files are not updating as they continue to work with their tools. And then so when they go back and look at them in in Notepad, they haven't refreshed. Okay, so it's kind of an issue, and it's definitely caused some people problems. So I wanted to go over this topic. So let's start with a general overview. We'll start with open, close, save, reload, and refresh. Okay, just a standard file opener. This is a standard text editor, right? So you can open files always in the normal way. First of all, it has to be a text file, meaning that it has to have text data only. All right, so if you have a text file, which is a lot of Flow2D.dat files, all the .dat files except for neighbors, and most of the .out files are text files, and you can quickly open one. Quickly open one by clicking right-click, Edit with Notepad++, and you can quickly close it with a Ctrl-W or click the X. So here's Ctrl-W, and then or you can drag and drop and click that X. And if you have one file open like this and you right-click it, you can close different kinds of tabs using these other buttons. So there's multiple ways to close tabs. All right, you can close the unsaved one, or the ones that haven't been modified. You can close all to the right of a layer. You can close all to the left of a layer. Now, how about reloading a data? Let's say you were in this file right here and you accidentally put some data in here that doesn't work, right? So what happens if you didn't want to Control-Z because that was not working for you? Instead, you wanted to reload it. So if you just right-click, reload, and then you'll click yes, or let's do that again, or you can do Control-R and then enter if you don't like using the mouse as often, because you don't like moving your hand back and forth between the mouse and the keyboard, because you like to keep your control of your keyboard. That's the hotkey. All right, and that's reload, and then finally is refresh. Now this is the one that's the key to working on files. Let's say, for example, you were looking at the file highstruct.dat. I am going to right-click, and I think I'm going to open this containing folder like that, and that should give me the self-help results and take me straight to that file. So the way that I did that was I right-click the tab, and then I went to Open Into and Open Containing Folder, and then you come down to Explorer, and it's right there where you want it. Now if you are to make an edit, let's say you're making an edit in QGIS or some other program or something like that. Of course, these edits are completely nonsensical. They don't make any sense. But if I save this with a Control-S and then I Control-W, you'll see here when I go back to Notepad++ that it's recognized that it's been updated by another project and asks you if you want to reload it. And if you click yes, you see that those edits have been applied. But of course we don't actually want those edits, so let's just turn those right back off. That's 0, 0.0, 0.0, 0.0, whoops, and then Control-S, and that is back to the way we wanted it. So that's refresh. Any edit you do outside of QGIS any edit you do outside of Notepad++ can be reloaded into Notepad++. All right, let's try block mode. Block mode is how you can modify and manipulate data as a block of data. And chan.dat is a file that you might find yourself doing this with, because it has lots of columnar data that's not as easy to edit and modify in Excel, and sometimes not very easy to edit and modify in QGIS, but always easy to do in the data file. So if I hold down the Alt key, you can see that I can select a column. It's not, but once you get down past a page or two, it's not very easy to kind of tell where you are. So what you want to do instead is use some of the other tools. So now we have Shift-Alt, and then if I arrow over to the end of the column, I can then go down with the down arrow. That's the up arrow. That's right arrow. That's left arrow. This is page down. See if you know, I don't know if you noticed it, but it took me down too far, too many pages, because I only wanted to select to right here. And that is block select mode. And then if I wanted to change that, I would hit delete and 0.035, and I could change that end value of that channel segment. So that is block mode. Be careful with block mode. It's not very easy to paste from something like Excel into something like Notepad++, because the tabs in Excel can mess things up. And that does kind of take me into another topic, which let's see if we're going to cover that now. So I'm going to Control-R to reload this file to saved, because I don't want to keep that. And then it says edit. Let me see if we have one more thing here I wanted to do, and that was, okay, find, replace. Nope, I think we need to do it now. Okay, one more thing here. Then we'll take our data from let's see, we'll take our data from highstruct.dat, and let's say that we wanted to edit this rating table in Excel, or better yet, let's do inflow.dat. And we have an inflow hydrograph down here that we want to modify in Excel. So we can take the hydrograph and we can copy that. And if you put that into a new tab in Excel and paste it, because I have just barely opened this version of Excel, it's a brand new version, I need to tell it to treat this data as space delimited data. So I will go to the Data tab, and I will go to Text to Columns. Sorry, I need to do this right here. Text to Columns, and this is delimited text with a space delimiter, and then click Finish, and now you can modify this data. So once you modify the data, let's just say I would modify this, like maybe make it ×2 or something. All right, let's do it. Equals this ×2, and then fill down, and then copy, and then paste as text. All right, now we don't want this anymore. We're done with it, right? And then if you put your cursor here and you Control-Shift-End and then back arrow, that will get you to the extent of your data. Now what if you had your own hydrograph? Now this we know is inflow.dat, right? So that we know that this is the time column and this is the discharge in cubic feet per second. And we also know that it needs a capital H to denote that that this is a new record. And again, we'll fill down. Okay, so we double click that to fill down, and then Control-Shift-End, E-N-D, and then back or left arrow will isolate that data. And then you can put that back in here, but when you do, what it does is it changes it from tab or from space delimited to tab delimited, because Excel data is always tab delimited. Another thing that it does is kind of annoying, of course, is it takes out all those zeros. So first off, let's put those zeros back in, because it's a lot easier to look at data when it's uniform. Okay, and then we'll copy that and we'll put it back in our file. And now what we have to do is take these tabs and convert them back to spaces, and we'll do that with a replace. So if I do Ctrl-H, I can replace this with a handful of spaces. Did you see that this is a tab? Because I had the tab selected when I hit Ctrl-H, or File or Edit Replace, or I think it's Search Replace, and then you click Replace All. And you can see that you've replaced your tabs with like 4 or 5 spaces. Doesn't matter how many spaces you replace them with. That's not important. All right. Then, and of course, you'll save that with Control-S before you run your Flow2D model again, or you will reload that, like was what we're going to do, Control-R, and we'll just reload that and get it back the way it was. See, these are space delimited values. Okay, that's it. Okay, now we do move to other view. So now I want to show you something new. So we'll double click this space right here, and that will open a new tab. And what I want to do is copy this data. So Control-A will select everything, and of course Control-C will copy, and then we'll paste that using Control-V here. But now I want to look at these two files together. So what I'll do is I'll move this to the other view, and then I'll split this window. This is just something Microsoft Windows Notepad cannot do this, but most text editors can. So you drag it down here, I click and drag, and then move to other view. And now you can see that I can see these two files together. Now I'm going to close this one because I want to show you something else about that, but not yet. I want to go in order. Okay, move to other view. There we go. Okay, file menu is open. The two important features that I haven't already discussed are open containing folder and open workspace. So open containing folder, you can do, if you do CMD, you'll get the command prompt opened at that path of this file. So for example, if I did that again, you would see that the Explorer window, sorry, wrong one, I apologize. The CMD window would now be opened at this location, okay? And you can see that the path of the CMD window has changed. Okay, now if you want to open the containing folder, you can do that in Explorer, and as you see, it takes you straight to that folder. And I have a bunch of those open now, so let me close a handful of those. Okay, so that's open containing folder. File, open containing folder, Explorer. And this would be the location of these notes, as you can see. You can also save a workspace. So if you have this workspace open in the files open that you want to keep looking at and reviewing, you can save that as a workspace using this one right here, save session. I'm sorry, I meant save, sorry, let's do open as a workspace. So this is file, open as a workspace, and you're just going to select that folder, and it will open that folder, and these are all the files that are inside that folder. And if I want to see this one, I hit this key right here to take me to that one. And you can have more than one workspace open. So for example, if I'm on this one and I click File, Open as a Workspace, I can just select this folder, and now you can see that I have two workspaces open. And if you want to unfold or expand them with this button and collapse them with this button, or you can expand and collapse them locally. Also, if you wanted to see that chan.dat file, you'll see that it's right here. All right, that's it for. And then we did close sum, move to recycle, save a session. Okay, let's talk about close sum. So let's do that. That you can do two ways. You can right click the tab, and then you can close. You can use these close options, or you can use these, or you can get to the close options from the file menu. Okay, let's see, what else did I say? Move to recycle. Okay, let's say for example that whenever I'm looking at and testing files using the text editor, I like to make a copy of the file in the folder so that I can kind of compare of what I've done and what I want to do. And then when I'm done with these two folders, so let me pull this one over here, and I'll pull this one here. When I'm done with these two folders, I can move this one to the recycling bin using the file menu. So move to recycling bin right there. And that would just delete that. Ooh, I did the wrong one. Well, that was silly. All right, let me rename this one so we can get it back. And then if you rename it and then it no longer exists, it's going to recognize that that file is missing. So I'll just click no, and then we'll put this one back in. Sorry, I did that wrong. All right, that's better. And you can see you can easily position these how you want them. All right, so that was move to recycle bin, and we talked. Now let's talk save session. Okay, save a session is right here, and all it does is it saves all of these files and folders and everything that's open here. That's all it does, is opens that, it saves that for you so you can get that back if something happens and you like kind of lose that structure. Edit menu, line operations, blank operations, end of line. Let's do line operations. This one's cool if you're working with code. You can duplicate a line, remove duplicates, remove consecutive duplicates, split and join lines. That one's really handy. Move a line up or down, remove empty lines that contain blank characters. There's all kinds of things you can do with this one. I don't use any of this stuff down here. Let's see, that's line operations. Let's try one. Let's remove empty lines. And of course it always works on the active tab. So let's get up here and we'll do edit, line operations, and remove empty lines. Okay, and so you see what it did is it removed empty lines, but there's some lines that have still some white space inside of them, defined inside of them. So let's show you how that one works. So that one is edit, line operations, and in this one we want to remove empty lines that contain blank characters like tabs and spaces. And again, get to the top of the file. Always control home before you do anything or it probably won't work. So we'll try that again. Edit, line operations, and we want to remove empty lines containing blank spaces. And you see we got those back, or we got that back into like that's kind of compressed format. But I'll just reload that. Control R. And the next thing we'll do is blank operations. Let's see, blank operations are really handy when you're trying to kind of format data in a way that's easier to read. So you can do things like, edit menu. You can do things like trim, trailing, and leading spaces. Sometimes you can do, I don't know, I don't personally think these three keys work very good, but maybe I'm just not doing it right. But I've tried this with that Excel method multiple times and I haven't really had much success with it. So I think these guys right here are probably the best ones. And then the final one is this end of line conversion. So if you're in the view menu and you're looking at all characters, you'll see that you have line endings right here that are in the Windows format. Now, if you got a file from Unix and it was in the regular LF format, you might have problems reading that in the EPA Swim GUI, or you might have problems reading that in GDS, or maybe even other programs like RAS or something like that, that you may have problems reading that kind of data. So you can easily convert that with the edit menu and the end of line conversion, and you can convert that to the Unix style, or convert that to the Windows style. Let's just do Control Z and it takes it right back to the Windows style. The Control Z and Control Y are undo redo, and they work really good in Notepad++. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's go with, let's get rid of this stuff so we can actually pay attention to the text and not the symbols. Okay, so now we are on to the search menu, and let's do Ctrl-F or search and find. So that's your Ctrl-F, and typically what you're going to be looking for is the word that you're on. So if I'm on this word and I Ctrl-F, you can see that it's going to search for that word. And if I'm on this word and I click replace or Ctrl-H, then I'm going to replace that word with this word. But remember, this is my active line and it's only going to go from this line onward. So be sure before you do a find replace to Control Home and go to the beginning of the file. And then you can do a replace all, and that will quickly fix or change your file. All right. Ctrl-shift-f is find in a file. This is a great one. So a lot of times I'm looking for something specific in a Flow2D plugin code. And so I take my directory and I point it to where the Flow2D plugin is located. And then I limit the filters or the types of files that I want to search in by the Python extension. And then I can type in the thing I want to look for, and I can find it. So if I click Find All, it will search the whole plugin, and it tells me that it returned 1,556 hits in 95 files. And if you double click one, it'll take you and open that file for you. And that works really good with both programming and Flow2D data files. That's Ctrl-shift-f, find in files. What else is good in this one? We did ctrl-h, and I already showed you how to do tabs to spaces, but I did want to try this one time. Since I have this data here, let's copy this data. Well, it's already copied, but that's okay. And let's put it back in here like we did. And then let's come to the beginning of the line, and let's see. Now this is a tab, right? Let's see if that edit line operations, no, it's blank operations, and tab to space. Oh, that did work that time. Okay, so maybe I've just been doing it wrong all this time, and I maybe just needed to put my cursor right here. Cool. Well, all right, that's good to know. All right, I'm still going to Control-R that to reload it. All right, and that was Control-H, and then of course you saw me convert the tabs to spaces the manual way. So it looks like that was working both ways, so that's kind of cool. And then the View menu, we already saw the Show Symbols, but we can show it again. And then we can do the Control plus and minus, and then hide lines. Okay, so View menu. We have, always on top. I don't know what that, I think that just means like one of these other files, or you can set one of these tabs to always on top. I don't ever use full screen mode because it's annoying. I don't know what post-it does, and distraction free mode is kind of useless. Okay, so this is for HTML. If you have an HTML file and you want to view it in one of those browsers. Show symbol we saw. So now show symbol is good if you're looking for hidden characters. Or no, sorry, if you're looking for weird blank characters, like Flow2D doesn't like tabs. So if you see something like this in your Flow2D text files, your DAT files, you might need to fix it, because if it's in a, like, I think the only one you can do tabs in is the swim INP file. The rest have to have space delimited data. Let's see, what else? And then the little dots are spaces. See? And of course this is a carriage return. Uh-oh. And I have it set to that Unix style, so that's totally messing this up. This file is now probably corrupt to load on other tools because it now has Unix and Windows data. That's very interesting. So I'll just Control-R to reload it, and then we'll turn this view symbols back off because again we don't need to see all that all the time. It's a lot to look at. The final thing is hide lines. So if you're in highstruct.dat and you wanted to hide lines, you could go to the search menu or the view menu, I guess, and you could hide lines, or you could use Alt-H and hide more lines. And so if you wanted to kind of just review all of these guys, you might even be able to hide anything that started with a T. I think that's possible, but I don't want to waste time to show you how to figure out how to do that. But I know I used to do that, and I can't remember if it was Notepad++ or if it was Ultra Edit. Either way, it's a cool way to, to quickly work with data. All right, let's get back here. I think we saw enough about hide lines. Oh, Control Zoom. Let's take this one. Let's take a look at this one now. So if we move this one over here and you hit Control, you can either mouse wheel up and down, or you can use the number pad plus and minus. Okay, that's zoom. And that was it. Hide lines, zoom, show symbol. The next one is the encoding. So we have two things to look at for encoding. First of all, if you are on a file and you hit the encoding, it's going to tell you what encoding that program has. Now, if the Mannings.dat was made and written with GDS, that would probably be ANSI encoding. And if it was written with QGIS, it would be UTF-8 encoding. So this tells you what encoding, and then if for some reason GDS couldn't open this file, you could convert it to the Windows encoding style. Okay, now let's take a look at this hex editor, because hex code, especially with GDS and sometimes with EPA Swim GUI, if you have hex code in a, let me turn the hex code off of this for a second. If you have hex code in a file, those programs are not going to be able to load it. And EPA Swim GUI does not like this file. And if you hit the hex code, now if you see right here, it doesn't look like it has any, but if you click the hex code, you can see right here that it has these three characters that are binary, probably because it came from a different version of a different Swim GUI, like possibly this came from like EPA Swim, no wait, what is it? Sorry, PC Swim, or maybe another Swim program, or maybe it was copy pasted out of like maybe the title of this project was copy pasted out of something that had some kind of funky formatting code in it that was not stripped by a text editor. Now, generally speaking, if you copy from Windows into a text editor, all the formatting out of that file will be stripped out of it. And you use that to your advantage. You copy paste data from Word or emails or things that have encoding or formatting into text editors to strip the formatting so that you can then apply HTML formatting. It's something you do when you do web development. So this should not be here, but this is a hex editor, so you can remove it by right-click and you can cut the binary content. And there's also more hex code in this one. So there's hex code right here, and then I think somewhere else down in here is some more hex code. Let's see, it's EBF. Let's see if we can find something weird like 6E. No, I think it's one of these guys. Nope, it's not that one. I might have accidentally deleted it when I renamed this file. Yeah, I think I deleted it when I renamed this file. There was another one, I believe it was a long dash, and I deleted it. So we only see this one. So, and again, the right click, delete binary content, or if that doesn't work for you, or you don't know how to do that, another thing you can do is let's get this out of hex mode, and you can usually take it from like the second character on to the bottom of the file. So ctrl-shift-end. Of course, I cut most of the data out of this file because I just wanted to show you a little bit of it. And if I copy that into a new text file, I can put that that bracket back, or that brace back in there, and then I can save this as the file and go delete the other one, and that would also fix that file. Now, sometimes in GDS, you're getting DTM points. Now, this one's doesn't have any problems, but you're getting DTM point data like this, and GDS will get an end of file read halfway through the file. Like it'll read up to, and it'll tell you that it got an end of file read on line 3400 and whatever. So if we control G to let's say that we read that error message and then we went to that line. Let's say it was 200,000. So if I did control G, that takes me to this line 200,000. Then I could these are just elevation points. If GDS can't read one of these points, I can just delete all three of them, and I would probably get rid of that binary code. And then I save it, and then go try it in GDS again. Okay, again, I'm going to reload that because I don't want to do that, you know, in reality. Okay, so that's the encoding menu and the hex code, the hex editor plugin. Now, here's another fun thing. If you have a manhole cover, no, I'm sorry, if you have Python file, a lot of times what I'll do with a script file is I will copy the script and put it into another placeholder, and then I'll move this to the other view so that I can work on, this would be like my original and this would be my modified. Let's get this back down to the same size, that's better. But it's kind of funny because you can't really tell much about this code by looking at it because it's missing all these colors. So if you want to change or set the language of an unknown file, you can just go to language and then you'll go down to P. In this case it's just Python, and you can set the language of this file. So that is pretty much it. Ooh, did I shut my, or did I close? No, I didn't. Let me, it's just right here. Come on. We'll have to, we have to use this guy right here. Okay. And one more. And so you can see that that's how you can set the language of a file. Okay, that's it. I'm done with that one. And that's Notepad++. So I'm going to stop the video here, and then I think I'll do a second video on how to use the compare tool within Notepad++.